Book 7, Letter 27, from Pliny the Younger to Sura. The present recess from business affords you leisure to give, and me to receive instruction. I am extremely desirous, therefore, to know your sentiments concerning specters, whether you believe they actually exist and have their own proper shapes and a measure of divinity, or are only the false impressions of a terrified imagination. I will give you this story exactly as it was related to me. There was at Athens a large and spacious, but ill-reputed and pestilential house. In the dead of night a noise, resembling the clashing of iron, was frequently heard, which, if you listened more attentively, sounded like the rattling of fetters. At first it seemed at a distance, but approached nearer by degrees. Immediately afterward, a phantom appeared in the form of an old man, extremely meager and squalid, with a long beard and bristling hair, rattling the shackles on his feet and hands. The poor residents consequently passed sleepless nights under the most dismal terrors imaginable. This, as it broke their rest, threw them into distempers, which, as their horrors of mind increased, proved in the end fatal to their lives. For even in the daytime, though the specter did not appear, yet the remembrance of it made such a strong impression on their imaginations that it still seemed before their eyes, and their terror remained when the cause of it was gone. By this means the house was last deserted, as being judged by everybody to be absolutely uninhabitable, so that it is now entirely abandoned to the ghost. However, in hopes that some tenant might be found who was ignorant of this great calamity which attended it, a bill was put up, giving notice that it was either to be let or sold. It happened that Athenodorus the philosopher came to Athens at this time, and reading the bill, ascertained the price. The extraordinary cheapness raised his suspicion. Nevertheless, when he heard the whole story, he was so far from being discouraged that he was more strongly inclined to hire it, and in short, actually did so. When it grew towards evening, he ordered a couch to be prepared for him in the forepart of the house, and after calling for a light, together with his pen and tablets, he directed all his people to retire within. But that his mind might not, for want of employment, be open to the vain terrors of imaginary noises and apparitions, he applied himself to writing with all his faculties. The first part of the night passed with usual silence. Then began the clanking of iron fetters. However, he neither lifted up his eyes nor laid down his pen, but closed his ears by concentrating his attention. The noise increased and advanced nearer, till it seemed at the door, and at last in the chamber. He looked round and saw the apparition exactly as it had been described to him. It stood before him, beckoning with the finger. Athenodorus made a sign with his hand that it should wait a little, and bent again to his writing. But the ghost rattling its chains over his head as he wrote, he looked around and saw it beckoning as before. Upon this, he immediately took up his lamp and followed it. The ghost slowly stalked along, as if encumbered with its chains, and having turned into the courtyard of the house, suddenly vanished. Athenodorus, being thus deserted, marked the spot with a handful of grass and leaves. The next day he went to the magistrates and advised them to order that spot to be dug up. There they found bones, commingled and intertwined with chains, for the body had been molded away by long lying in the ground, leaving them bare and corroded by the fetters. The bones were collected and buried at the public expense, and after the ghost was thus duly laid, the house was haunted no more. Hello, this is Remnants, and we are your hosts. I'm Kayla.
And I'm Emily.
And today I am taking the wheel to force Emily to listen to me geek out over the ancient Romans.
Yep. And this is potentially going to be part of, I guess we could call it a new series we're doing, when we're going to each kind of pick a topic and research and present it to the other person.
Mm-hmm.
There's the hair on the mic.
Oh, yeah.
There you go.
Blame it on the cats.
Yep. So this is Kayla's night.
Whoop, whoop.
So what are you...
You're forced to listen to me.
Yeah. So what was that introduction? What was that story?
Well,
was really spooky.
It's kind of, you're making me get ahead in my notes.
Oh, I'm sorry. If you're going to talk about it, I'll wait.
I am going to talk about it.
Okay, never mind.
And I'm going to talk about it, like, sooner than later.
Okay.
But I'm just I'm going to set up the scene for what we're going to discuss in this episode.
Gotcha.
So, it's going to be about ancient Roman ghosts and what the Romans believed in ghosts. They believed in many types of ghosts, and it's kind of, in my research, it's just amazing the similarities in, like, how we view ghosts today. Kind of like with that story, it's basically a haunted house, and there's, like, you know, the chains rattling. Those are two very specific haunted house type tropes that we still talk about today.
It's true. I wonder if that's just, like, an accepted creepy thing that just people overall ages and cultures were like, chains.
Yeah.
Ghosts have chains.
Right.
And sheets.
Yeah.
That's what makes them scary.
Yeah, it's just funny. So it's like, man, maybe we're not so different from those people 2,000 years ago.
It's just like, just keep in mind, if you want to scare anybody, just rattle some chains and you've got it.
Yeah.
Scare the Romans, it can scare you.
Exactly. But yeah, that story is pretty famous in ancient Rome, mostly just because it was actually written down and it's a detailed story.
Yeah.
Because you'll find like mentions of ghosts here and there in like Roman literature and letters and even in some law, because they were big on like ghosts appearing in dreams and that kind of stuff. So,
really?
But yeah, there's a couple like. There's a line from the epistles by the Roman poet Horace, and he says, you know, do you laugh at dreams, miracles, magical terrors, witches, ghosts in the night, and Thessalian portents? So, like, there's all these, like, you'll find all these mentions of just ghosts in literature, but this letter that Pliny the Younger wrote is one of the most famous because it's just lengthy.
So, like, if somebody had a dream and they said, this ghost told me that he meant to put me in his will or something, would that have to be entered into court using very us language? But if somebody said, my dad came to me in a dream and he said I was supposed to get the house, not Caesar.
Right. Or like sometimes like in murder cases and stuff, you know.
Man, I kind of wish that was still a thing. As I entered the court, I had a dream about this case.
Yeah.
Make me join the jury. I don't know. That's funny.
Yeah, it is funny. Yeah, I listened to this one podcast and just trying to, you know, gather all the information. And she didn't go into too much detail, but she's a professor at the University of Massachusetts and in classics. And she mentioned that it's mentioned in some law cases.
That's amazing. That's the best thing ever.
Right.
You need to do a follow-up episode like this case. This case was won by a ghost.
I mean, is it all that dissimilar from like police departments hiring psychics?
Not really.
You know,
it's just like, I guess, like, I have a feeling that they will be in this canal. Just go there. I just feel like you should. I guess it's kind of
be
the
like,
same.
I had this dream that, my dad wanted me to have this house.
Yeah, that's pretty much. I had a dream a tiger stole all the burritos from Taco Bell. I think everybody should check on Taco Bell. Something bad's happening.
Better go.
I'm just always thinking about Taco Bell. It's always on my brain.
I mean, especially in relation to our podcast.
We are sponsored by Taco Bell.
Yeah.
Dong. I'm done.
No, you're going to have to, like, interject to make all of my geeking out over Roman history exciting.
So good thing you brought me a soda, because now I'm all hyped. I'm all jacked up on Mountain Dew.
I'm going to come at you like a spider monkey. Oh, no, are we showing our millennial age?
I'm sure we've already done that long before this episode.
True.
Okay.
Yeah.
Carry on, my wayward
son.
son.
Wow, where even was I? No. I guess, so this famous ghost story. Pliny the Younger. Do you care to know who he is, or do people
Yes.
need to know that? Sure.
I've heard about him. I've heard of him. I've never knew who he
I
was.
think he's probably more, his uncle, Pliny the Elder, is probably more famous.
Where's Pliny the Middle?
Pliny the Middle.
Pliny the slightly
Pliny
older.
the Elder, he was at the eruption of Mount Vesuvius and died trying to save people. Or that's the story.
He probably just ran away.
Yeah. But yeah, he was found, they, think he just suffocated. Found, yeah. There.
Can't really make a joke about
So
that.
then Pliny the Elder inherited his, or Pliny the Younger, sorry, inherited his, estate, I guess, and...
Or did he?
Dun, dun, dun. He's like, my uncle has no children.
But then his best friend had a dream.
Yeah, you should really go to Pompeii right now. That's a real cool place. Actually, it was like the Las Vegas of Rome.
I heard that. Didn't they find like a bunch of graffiti of penises all over Pompeii?
Oh yeah.
That's incredible.
It is.
And then they were punished by the gods for their
Craziness.
Because I can think of the word. I just randomly gestured at the air like that would make a word appear. Craziness.
Yeah. It's so cool. I've been there, and like it just like shows how advanced the Romans were, because like they had sliding doors, like you can see the grooves still of where the
That's
doors
cool.
were. And they had indoor plumbing. They had bathhouses. At least the rich bathed daily. They had public toilets.
Honestly, it sounds a little bit better organized than Kansas City.
Yeah. I know. I've always thought if I was forced to live in another time period, I think I would pick ancient Greece or Rome, because they were they didn't hate women. I mean, women were still,
And the outfits were airy. That'd be nice.
That's true, yeah. The food.
Very comfortable food.
Mediterranean diet.
Wine.
Yeah. They were enlightened, educated. I mean, I'm sure, they had slaves and there was bad stuff too, but...
I mean...
They had entertainment. They had amphitheaters,
It's true. It's true.
Go to the show.
Great.
It's great.
You know
Good
what?
times had
I'm
by all.
convinced. I'm down.
You're down.
I'd even go live in Sparta. That sounds fun too. That
Oh.
sounds like a good time. No, it
No,
doesn't.
it doesn't.
I'm too materialistic for Sparta.
Yeah.
Never mind. And that sounds like a lot of work.
Yeah, they were...
Maybe I'll stick with Athens.
the Romans were a little more... They enjoyed their leisure time. The Spartans were very rigid.
Oh, I got sidetracked.
They're
I was like,
Greeks.
we were talking about Greece.
Well, they're kind of in a lot of ways interchangeable.
I know. I was like,
'Cause
wait.
the Romans borrowed so much from the Greeks.
It's true.
But
I got lost. Yep. Okay. There we go. Back to the actual.
Pliny the Younger. Yeah. That letter I read, it also included 2 more ghost stories, but I was like, well, it's lengthy enough, so.
That was a good one though.
I'll link in our notes, I'll link the translation if you guys are so inclined to read the rest of his letter, but I do think it's kind of funny that he was just like, hey, I got some downtime. I'm going to write to my friend and be like, do you believe in ghosts?
There was this ghost floating above.
I've heard these stories, and I'm going to tell them to you, and what do you think?
That would be a letter we'd write to each other.
Yeah, he lived in the 1st century into the early 2nd century AD, so yeah, it's just kind of funny to think. It's kind of like what I do. Text someone, hey, you believe in ghosts?
I don't care. I'm going to tell you about
them.
I'm telling you about those ghosts. I don't care what you want.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Sadly, of course, we don't have, Sura's reply. If he responded believing in ghosts or not, who knows? Well, but...
You just ghosted him. Good one. Okay.
Another fun ghost story I found, which is definitely fiction, unlike the other story, claims to be true, but it's also a haunted house, which was kind of a common Roman ghost story. This is from a Roman play in the 3rd century BC from Plautus called Monsteralia, which means little monster, although it's more commonly translated as the haunted house. But it's about a son who parties while his father is away, and when his father returns 3 years later, the son has eaten and drunken away his father's money. So the son tells his servant to go tell his father to stay away because the house is haunted. So the servant goes and tells the father, you can't go back to your house because it's haunted by this traveler who was killed on the premises, and the ghost told everyone to get out.
Okay. So, if there are any youths listening to our podcast,
Yeah.
next time you eat and drink away your father's estate, claim ghost.
Yeah. Like, sorry, you can't go back to the house. The ghost said it's his now.
It's super haunted, Dad. I don't know what to tell you. Just don't go. It's for your own good.
I love that.
It's pretty good.
It's like very creative.
Yeah. Like,
excuse.
honestly, kudos. Fair.
Yeah.
Good job, kid. Good job, ancient child.
Yeah. So yeah, those are a couple fun stories. But so the Romans, they kind of broke down their ghosts into 3 categories.
Love categories.
Yeah. Categories. So, Chaz, did you ever play that game?
No.
Okay, well then we're moving on. Never mind.
What the hell did she do? She did a little dance. She was like,
Yeah, you snap. Never mind.
what just happened?
Exactly.
Okay.
So these can kind of be generalized into categories just for our easy understanding. You've got the lares, which are the good ghosts.
Okay.
You got the lemures, which are
Lemurs.
evil. Yeah, lemurs. No, they're evil.
No, they're not cute.
And then you got your manes, which are kind of your neutral ghosts. St. Augustine, like during the Middle Ages, he kind of put those terms on the types of ghosts. But
Interesting.
I will dive a little bit more into them.
Okay.
So your lares, generally the good ghosts, they are benevolent household spirits that watched out for a given family. They were well-intentioned, and they were often interpreted even as like household mini-gods that had a place at the family altar. And there were some lares that were dedicated to larger community spaces, neighborhoods, and crossroads.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
That's
So-
interesting. The crossroads concept, like crossroads.
Demons.
Yeah, like crossroads stay like a big thing in lore, which is an interesting thing. Like, why are crossroads symbolically so important for people? It's completely off topic, but maybe this can be another mini episode.
That is kind of interesting, yeah. I hadn't even done that.
We're scared of making choices.
Right? Probably, yeah. It's just part of human nature no matter how far back you go.
That's interesting. Anyways. Oh, and this noise you keep hearing, Kayla mentioned she listened to our last episode and it kind of sounded like we were farting a bunch. We weren't. It's my chair. I swear to God, I'm not lying. It's my chair.
The farting is Emily's fault.
The farting's my chair. It's not me. Kayla, stop it. Anyways, back to your lemurs.
So, no, okay, yeah. So we have the lares, good guys. Then you've got the lemures, or they're sometimes called the larvae, too.
Ew.
Yeah. These are your angry or troublesome ghosts.
Me.
They were the spirits of people who had been taken from the world in a sudden, violent manner. They might linger in houses or other locations and even push the living into insanity.
Fun.
So that was kind of that's probably what the type of ghost was in Pliny's letter that I read at the beginning is,
Right.
you know, he was like shaking his irons like, hey, I'm trying to get your attention.
Like, I'm going to keep shaking this.
I'm going to keep bothering you. Well, he drove the original owners, out of the house because they were just going mad. So, yeah.
He was just trying to be like, I'm downstairs.
So, yeah, they're kind of called the haunting spirits because they're souls that could not find rest, whether they were met with a violent or premature death or were just unhappy. They wandered among the living, haunting people. And, it's kind of similar to how we view, like, haunted house ghosts today, which is kind of fascinating.
Yeah, like...
That's just continued.
Yeah. Interesting. I mean, we took a lot of things from the Romans, so it makes
Yeah.
sense we took our haunting archetypes from them.
Yeah.
Or, that's just what ghosts are, and that's the thing. Or we're just stolen.
Well, I was doing my research. I mean, there's ghost stories in, obviously, Greece, Mesopotamia, China, Mesoamerica, so, like...
I'd really like to look into, every culture has ghost stories, but, Japanese ghost stories are terrifying. They were so creepy.
They even
Like-
are today. Isn't that where that suicide forest is in Japan?
Yeah, that is, and this is off topic, I won't talk about it much, but that one is literally, like, they describe, like, some of the reasons they say that the forest is so dangerous and, like, so many suicides happen there is, like, you can go there and then there's some sort of spiritual influence, like, there are ghosts in there that lead you astray and persuade you to commit suicide. And they have something, too, I can't remember the exact word, but they have a specific ghost type that's called, like, a hungry ghost.
Ooh.
And they're the ones that are, like, the violent lemurs.
So what kind of, I'm going totally off topic. Okay, so, like, what would make their culture kind of be, like, so, like, their ghosts being so horror versus, like, the Romans? I feel like even the Roman evil ghosts, it's still kind of kooky, you know, like,
I don't know. Because, like, some of them, I guess you could just, I don't know.
The Romans just generally happier people? I don't know.
I think it just has something to do with maybe the way your worldview kind of shapes.
Or
like,
maybe because Italy's, like, sunny. I don't know. Is Japan, like, cloudy a lot? So
It's
they're, like,
misty and-
emo.
you know. I don't even know that. I don't know. That would be interesting to look into. Like,
Yeah.
it'd be kind of fun to look into different cultures' ghost stories and maybe why they're the way they are. Because, like, I don't know. Like, even United States has its own lore, but it's not so much ghost stories as it is, like, we favor cryptids. And I find
True.
that very interesting because that, if you think about, like, indigenous stories and everything, that's very much like it was more creature-based kind of. And there were spirits, too, but...
Which the Greeks and Romans did, too. Like,
Ooh.
you know, the werewolf comes from the Greeks. And the
Yeah.
Romans believed in skinwalkers.
Romulus and Remus.
Yeah, I came across some skinwalker stories. And
That's interesting.
It's not really related to this ghost episode, but I, like, started writing about it, and I was like, well, that's kind of its own episode. But, yeah.
We've got so many ideas
I know.
already. It's just like, I would love to do Japanese ghost stories because they're
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll stop going off
But
topic.
we do. Now that I think about it, we do, like, cryptids in the...
We do.
US.
Like, most of our stuff is...
I mean, Bigfoot's got a whole...
Bigfoot.
He's got shows.
Mothman.
Yeah.
New Jersey Devil.
Devil. Mm-hmm.
There's so many.
What's the...
I almost said capybara.
Yeah.
Chupacabra.
Yeah,
That's
chupacabra.
Mexican, though.
Well, North American, I guess.
True,
but
it
still.
kind of all circulated the same way.
Yeah, but...
The capybara. He's so scary.
Yes.
The Wendigo.
Yeah.
We've got-
Native American, yeah.
Uh-huh. All kinds of things.
Mm-hmm.
Trump.
The most modern
The
Trump.
most fearsome cryptid.
Well, I'm going to get back to talking about the evil ghosts. Is that fitting?
I need a chocolate.
So the I don't know why I struggle. I think because I want to say lemur. The lemures. They were honored annually with a 9-day festival in May called Lemuria. They held these ceremonies to satisfy the spirits. One ritual that they did during the ceremony was to clang together pieces of brass with the idea that the loud noise and the accompanying words, "Ghost of my fathers, go forth," would cause bad spirits to vacate the premises. So I kind of thought, that made me think it's almost related to how, like, the superstition, or I don't know, the theory that, like, iron, like, will get rid of ghosts. Like in the show Supernatural, they would do that.
Another interesting thing. These are going to be such long episodes.
Yeah, this is supposed to be a short one.
Iron is also used, like, it's supposed to believe to repel, like, fae and, like, fairies.
Yeah, so, like, what is it about metals? I don't know.
Like, iron in particular. Why is that one so repellent? Does it have, like, some sort of holy import?
Or maybe it actually works.
I'm
why.
always like, what's
No, I'm
the...
just kidding.
You're just like, Emily, iron everywhere.
It's because it's true. No, I'm kidding.
She looked
Yeah.
like hella serious. She was like, fuck. I literally paused. Stress eat this chocolate. I don't know. I feel like I got in
Yeah,
trouble
no,
with
I
the
wonder
teacher.
what it is about the metals. Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, we'll add it to the list.
Fresh metal, man.
Yeah. So then our last kind of ghosts, which there's the most information about them, they're the manes. So you're kind of neutral, middle of the ground, not clearly good or bad. They were effectively ancestral spirits, and they existed in that gray area between humans and the gods, with the power to protect or guide the living. The manes were associated with the underworld in that they were literally connected to the ground or to a space beneath the earth. Ancient Romans kept busy appeasing these particular ghosts since they could look out for their family or community, and if they were ignored, would cause trouble. So, everyday observances were necessary, and this included both offerings and prayers to the manes. For special occasions like weddings and the start or end of a household member's journey somewhere necessitated extra attention to the manes and the protecting mood.
Maybe we need to do that before we travel next so you don't get sick. We need
I need a mane.
We need to offer.
My ancestral.
Don't make my tummy hurt this week.
I do. Your immediate family, they would often be called the parentes, and this was mostly in reference to dead.
Parentes.
You can see, I mean, English is very much derivative from Latin. The Latin vocabulary is not so hard to figure out.
That's true. I'd much rather say, I gotta talk to my parentes.
Yeah, parentes, because that referred to the dead mothers or fathers, and they were often represented by little statuettes. And so these miniature representations of one family, they could be bundled up and taken on a journey to bring forth comfort and spiritual protection to the traveler. So I could make little statuettes of my grandparents, take them with me.
That's so cute.
To protect me.
I kind of want to do that. Like I collect all my family in miniatures.
Yeah.
Here they are. Here's the living shelf, and here's the dead shelf.
You can have a little altar home.
You could.
See the ancient Rome, it wouldn't be so bad.
Oh, and then whenever you set up your little Christmas village, you can put them in there, and they can have little holiday activities. Grandma's
maybe
ice
that's
cream.
where the idea of like the nativity came from. Because so much of Christianity is borrowed.
That's true. They saw that and they're like, I could put baby Jesus in that.
Yeah. He protect me.
Like, step aside, Grandma. Jesus is here. He needs to be in that basket.
8 pounds, 6 ounces, baby Jesus. Going back to the Talladega Nights.
Oh, God.
Maybe we shouldn't have soda while we're recording.
No, I like this. This is good.
Well, not to be outdone, the Manes also had their own 9-day festival called the Parentalia, and it was in February. And at the Parentalia on the 18th and the 21st of February, the living would share a meal with the benevolent spirits of their ancestrals at their graves. So that's nice.
Yeah, it's cool. I like it. It's kind of like, it has like Day of the Dead vibes.
Yeah.
Like it's more, like you said, it's not necessarily kooky. It's less spooky, kooky, and more like just ancestral spirits kind of. Like it's more of like,
it's just a part of their culture. Like
I wish it was a part of ours. That'd be fun.
Yeah. I don't know where we lost that along the way. Probably
Jesus.
The Middle East. Jesus' fault.
Damn it, Jesus.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
Yeah, the saints came into the picture. You don't need your ancestral gods to protect you. You got to worship these saints.
You gotta worship this guy.
Mm-hmm.
I about it.
So this was kind of cool, I found. So when a family member died, and thus a new spirit was on the way to join the other manes, their tombstone was usually marked by the initial DM, which stood for Dismanibus, or translated the spirits of the departed. So this was kind of a heads up to the pre-existing manes that a new spirit was on the way and could use some guidance on the other side while they adjusted to their new role as an ancestor ghost.
So it's like the temple where Mushu lived.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool.
Yeah. See, look at all these ties of different cultures.
All this. Okay.
We're all alike. And so one of the ways that the Romans kept the Manes happy was by making offerings, and a recently deceased relative could be honored by pouring libations or leaving food on or near the grave. And some memorials even had built-in cups that would allow wine, water, honey, or other liquids to filter through the cremated remains below.
That's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And sticky.
Yeah. Who cleaned that up?
Like, that is some... Those are wet remains. That used to be, was almost our name. What remains?
Oh, I know.
That would have been such a funny joke if we were what remains still. It could have been wet remains.
Yes, but some other podcast beat us to it, that name.
Damn that.
So we had to change our name. Not salty about it.
No.
So yeah, those are your three kind of main ghosts. You got your lares, the good guys.
Okay.
Your lemures, the evil, and your manes, the neutral, kind of ancestral spirits.
I like
So, yeah. The more you know.
That's very cool. I like it a lot. I like it a lot.
I'm not done yet.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'll shut up.
No. The Romans believed there was basically two ways that spirits would linger in the mortal world. And those both had to do with problems surrounding their death. One was improper burials, and the other was unfinished business.
Okay.
So, since the underworld was kind of the final destination in their beliefs, anyone who couldn't make it across the river Styx, separating the land of the living from the dead, might become a ghost.
Who was in Roman mythology, who's the god of the underworld? Or is there one?
Yes.
Who is it for Romans? Obviously, I know it's Hades.
Hades for Greek.
Yeah. It's interesting that they still have, like, the river Styx and everything.
Oh, yeah. Oh, Pluto. Duh.
Pluto.
Um...
Pluto. That's hardly as interesting sounding.
Yeah, no, it's basically all like the same mythology. They just changed the name.
And now the god of the underworld's a big yellow dog.
But
Oh, lame.
but yes. They kept some of the names the same. They were even too lazy. We won't change that one.
But Hades, let's ruin that. They got a perfectly
No,
good
Pluto.
name. It's Pluto now. And his guard dog.
I think
Goofy.
the Romans would hate that we now associate Pluto with like either a planet / not a planet or a Disney dog. Not the feared ruler of the underworld.
Yep, now he's just silly. Nobody takes their god seriously anymore. Oh my god. Oh my Pluto.
This is sort of related thinking of the underworld. This like fun little fact I came across. So like, in modern ghost stories, we kind of like ghosts walk through walls. But the Romans, because they believe the ghosts like came from the underworld, they always like melted into the ground. Like that's how they like left.
That's cool.
Isn't that cool?
Huh. That's like a very specific detail that you wouldn't consider being different, but
Yeah. So like we always like ghosts just kind of like walk through walls or they just like poof go. But like the Romans, they always just like they descended.
so like, this is probably too specific a question, but like, do the ghosts then, since they can't cross the river Styx, do they still like live in the underworld? They just can't actually go to the afterlife portion of the underworld?
Yes.
So they
Correct.
just like pop up, I'm here to terrorize, and then
Like I'm here like, damn it, give me a proper burial, like the guy in the story I read at the beginning.
and they just melt back down.
Or, which I'll get into, or it's like, avenge my death so that I can cross the river Styx.
And then they return to the underworld waiting room.
Yeah.
Like that scene in Beetlejuice. Okay. Huh,
Yeah.
That's really cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Nice.
It's kind of like, this is Greek, but like even in the Odyssey, Odysseus, like when he on Circe's island like goes down into the underworld and he like runs into one of his comrades and he's like, what are you doing here? He's like just waiting in line.
Fancy seeing you.
And the
here.
guy was like, well, you left me behind on the island and I died, and because you didn't even know I was gone, I have not been properly buried. So so he was like, so Odysseus, when you get back up top, if you could bury me, that'd be great so that I could get out of this line. So, it's
That's
fascinating.
incredible. He's like, man, glad you got down here. I thought I was going to be here forever. Oh my god. All right, cool.
I don't know, yeah.
That is a fun fact. I like it.
Fun thing. But But so that kind of relates to like why ghosts, not having the proper burials, and like I said, like the ghost in the story I read at the beginning, the Romans were big on the proper burials, and it just shows like the importance of burial in remembrance in their society, which is really kind of true even in cultures today.
Mm-hmm.
That if a body is not properly buried, whether through accident or malice, it could result in a restless, unhappy spirit.
I think some of the Roman burial stuff sounds cool. I'd like to have a cup to have wine or honey poured in.
Mm-hmm.
I think that'd be cool.
Yeah.
Just make me wet dust.
I think that's like, it's kind of cool. I think they, just with their mythology, like they just so fully believed in the afterlife, like I think death wasn't how I don't know, it was kind of just like, so we're gonna go hang out at this grave, give them some wine, they're chilling in the underworld. It's
like
good
it
times.
seemed more of like a next step versus an ending.
Right.
Which obviously, like, the afterlife exists culturally still, like with Christianity and other religions, but it's just not as commonly fully accepted anymore, so that's probably...
Well, and I think and I'm probably maybe overspeaking in some ways, but like, I don't know, we just like, in Christianity, you can go to heaven and it's great, but there's not like specifics, whereas like the Greeks and the Romans, I mean, the underworld was very specific. I mean, there was different, the heroes went to this place, the bad people went to Tartarus, but even they had a chance to like get out. Like I feel like Christianity, go to hell, that's it.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't know, but their underworld was just so fully formed.
Yeah, it was literally like another world.
Yeah.
It was just the underworld.
Yeah.
That's a very good point, because it would...
Ours is so, like, we don't know, and we don't know, but, like, I think maybe that leaves room for...
It's either you're good or you're bad, and after that,
And even the Greek and Roman underworld had, like, a neutral zone where you kind of just, if you were, like, just an okay person, this is where you went, I don't know, yeah. They had different sections.
I love a good section.
Right.
Like Hogwarts for when you die.
Right. Which house do you get sorted into?
Damn it, I'm in the neutral house. Guess that's probably what
It's better than Tartarus.
Yeah, I don't want to go to Tartarus. Sounds cool, though. That was my chair.
Well, sounding cool. How about ghosts that want to be avenged?
Yes.
That was
spirits.
So aside from an improper burial, that was the other reason Romans believed ghosts lingered in the mortal world, is because they had unfinished business, or they just had an untimely or unjust death that needed to be avenged. Sometimes that ghost needed the living's help to move on, especially if it was a wrongful death and their murderer was still free and unpunished. That could be, really maddening to a ghost, and they're like, I need your help.
That's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair. That could be entered into court.
Yep.
I had a dream that he did it.
Well, yeah. There is a ghost story that's kind of about an avenging ghost. It's in a tale by Apuleius, who was a Roman philosopher and writer, and it's in his novel Metamorphosis. And the story begins when a man named Thrasyllus falls in love with the wife, Karate, of his friend Tilapia. This
friend Tilapia.
That would actually be a lot easier to say. Tilapalamus.
Tilapalamus. Tilapalamus.
It is a hard one to say. It's T-L-E-P. It's the T-L-E-P. Like, that is not, those words don't exist together.
Name my next dog Tilapalamus.
Tilapalamus. I think that's how you say it. I'm sorry. My Latin classes were a while ago.
I don't think you're going to offend any Tilapalamuses in the world.
But anyway, so you got this guy Thrasyllus, and he falls in love with his friend's wife. So while they're out hunting, he murders him.
Tilapalamus, no!
Yeah. So then Tilapalamus' spirit appears to his wife in a dream, saying, "Hey, I was murdered. You gotta avenge me." Well, during this time, Thrasyllus is coming around, and he's trying to court her, but she's like, "No, I'm mourning my husband's death." But then one night, she says, "Okay, you may visit me." And she offers him wine, which she drugs, and once he falls into a stupor, she blinds him with her hairpin, claiming that death is too easy a punishment for what he has done, and he must now wander through life without seeing the world.
Damn.
The Romans were gory. She then runs to her husband's tomb, tells him that she's avenged him, and she kills herself with his sword. Then Thrasyllus, I guess out of guilt, shuts himself up in the tomb as well and starves himself to death. The end.
They went like full Shakespeare on that.
Or Shakespeare got a lot of his influence from
Totally
them.
did. There was like some Hamlet in there was some Romeo and Juliet.
Some Macbeth. Isn't there a ghost in Macbeth?
Yeah.
With his
Yeah.
dad. It's been a while.
Well, Hamlet had the ghost of the dad.
Oh, sorry.
He's like, you must avenge me.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, see, I'm confusing my Shakespeare.
It's okay. I confused Romans and Greeks earlier.
Together we
are very confused and inaccurate.
Or smart. That's where I was going.
Oh.
With our knowledges combined, we will get
It
there.
kind of goes both ways, but yeah.
So, yeah, that story kind of has, like, it's got the ghost visiting in the dream and also the avenging. So it's kind of got a couple of the common themes in Roman ghost stories. But
I loved it. I like that story. That's a good story. Thank you.
You're welcome. I'm here for the gory story.
I love blinding people with hairpins.
Because they I mean, that's a good wife. She was like, you murdered my husband and death is too easy, so I'm going to freaking blind you.
It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. Pretty
That's how you pick them.
badass, I guess. I don't know.
Are they gonna just trust a dream enough to blind a dude because you think you killed him? Yeah. Cool.
Yeah. Ooh, and a common theme too, like the Romans a lot of times in their when like ghosts visit them in dreams, they were in their death state.
Ooh.
So it doesn't specifically call it out in this story, but in the Aeneid, which is the Roman version of the Odyssey, because when the Romans were forming their culture, we're like, we need a cool story like the Odyssey, so they basically just stole. Anyways, Aeneas is a Trojan who is then making his way back to Rome. But anyways, he is visited by the ghost of Hector, and Hector comes to him in his bloodied death state.
That makes it a lot spookier.
Yeah.
Because, a lot of our ghosts are like, they're returned to their...
like youthful look or something, or...
And they're like, no,
or a sweet grandma.
He's holding his head in his arms.
Yeah. It's a dangling on or something.
Oh, nearly headless neck.
Yes. In the Romans, sometimes they used ghosts to enact curses, which I love.
Wait, how? How did that work?
So we actually have like some physical evidence that survived of where there's these curse tablets, and they would be scrawled with names or pleas or invocations, and they were deposited in or around graves. The resting places of people who died in violent matters were like the choice spots, I think, because they were already like, typically those were the lemures, the more evil spirits. So like, yeah, they'd be more willing to, enact a curse because they're already bad.
They ask a ghost to curse somebody for them.
Mm-hmm.
That's really cool.
Yeah. Some, if they weren't on a tablet, they might have even been rolled on a paper and crammed into a tube that was supposed to carry offerings to the dead. So.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Ghosts could start a business in the afterlife.
Yeah.
Like, I'm a professional curser.
Yeah. I just love that they don't go to the good ghosts. They're like, we're going to go to the angry ghosts because they're more likely to carry this message to the evil spirit or even take it on themselves because they're just angry.
I love that so much.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And they found some of these curse tablets too, like also buried underneath the floors of like amphitheaters or circuses, because maybe they theorize that maybe it's like they didn't want to bother ghosts, so they're like, well, we'll just leave it here and maybe someone will find it.
Or like a wandering ghost. Will just pick it up and like, oh yeah, I haven't cursed anybody in a while. Yeah. I could use this.
Yeah.
So I'm like, everybody likes to go to the circus.
Yeah.
Surely there's a lemur. How do you actually say it?
Lemures.
Surely there's a lemures here somewhere who will take my offer. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I'm saving that nugget, that brain nugget.
Yeah.
Ew. That's gross. Never say it that way again.
Yeah. So, anyways, that's kind of just sums up the Roman, I don't know, mythology or lore on ghosts, and, you know, really, like, did the Romans believe in ghosts? And it's kind of a yes and no answer. They definitely had, like, their superstitions and their festivals around ghosts, and, you know, they like to use ghosts in their stories. But, I mean, kind of like today, they had people that believed and people that didn't. And kind of in my research, it was similar to even their religion. Like, some people fully believed in the Roman gods, and others were like, maybe. And then you had some that were like, no. Like, one of my favorite things that I came across in my research is that it was kind of common's not the right word, but they found this on some Roman epitaphs, and the quote is, "I was not, I was, I am not, I don't care."
I love that.
So, like, I mean, it kind of just is like to put that on your tombstone, like, well, I'm dead now, so whatever. Like, I don't know, I kind of love that about the Romans, that some of them were just like, well, I lived, I'm dead now, whatever happens, it doesn't matter. I don't care.
God. And that makes sense, though, like, and it goes for Greeks and Romans, that how philosophy was so important to them. Like, of course there'd be people that would think like that, because you can't spend so much time just thinking about things and be like, well, of course I believe in Greek gods and ghosts and Roman gods and all the things.
Mm-hmm.
But nihilism,
yay! Yeah, it's perfect. And it's funny. The philosophers were the ones that actually tended to question, and the ghost stories were they come mostly from the philosophers. Like Pliny, Pliny the Younger, that letter I read, he was a philosopher, and he's asking, hey, do you believe in ghosts? I heard these ghost stories. What do you think?
That's true, because he's not even saying that I believe in them. It's just like, I heard these stories. What do you think about them?
Like, he's just trying to collect, like, what other philosophers think. And,
that's interesting.
Yeah.
I guess it's kind of what we're doing.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's funny that's like...
We're philosophers.
Yeah, it's still happening today, 2,000 years later.
So philosophical.
Yeah.
The brain nuggets.
So, yeah.
That was I really liked that a lot. That was super cool.
Yeah, I really loved, like, diving in. I knew that there was, like, Romans believed in ghosts, and there were some ghost stories, but I never, like, dived much into it. So I had a lot of fun. And there's not a ton of ghost stories out there, because a lot of them were oral tradition, and there's not a ton written down of, like, true ghost stories. Right. That's why Pliny's letter is so famous, because it actually, one, he wrote it down, and two, it survived.
I feel like I actually learned a lot, though, so that was cool.
Yeah.
I'm excited to continue this format. It'll be really good.
I'm excited for what you have to teach me.
I'm excited, too.
So
it's going to be a lot of teaching, I feel. A lot of detail.
So I hope you guys like this.
Yeah.
Being taught.
Yeah, I liked it, but I've always liked that. But, yeah.
This is good winter activities, because we found it is... Because actually, even one of the locations we thought, well, we realized we can't do outside investigating. And then one of them, I was like, well, maybe we can go to the Missouri State Penitentiary. That's inside. Yeah, but it's not heated, I found out.
Yeah, and we're wimps.
We are.
Particularly me. I can't do, like, I have a blanket right now.
Got California blood in you.
I got California blood. I can't do it. And I don't prepare for the cold well enough. I'm like, I don't need an actual jacket. I'll just layer. And I'm cold.
What?
We're talking about impossible.
So yeah, as we get through the winter, we're probably going to kind of do some of these episodes like this. So let us know what you think. Yeah. And if there's something you want to learn about.
Yeah, if you have any research topic ideas, just send us a message. Send us a message on Instagram.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Remnants Pod.
Yes.
Our Instagram.
I just assume you're already following us.
Yes.
That was my chair.
We gotta get you a new chair.
Dude, I hate this chair. I picked it for the look. It's terrible.
Super cute.
It's cute. It's uncomfortable and it farts. All right, is that our episode?
Yeah. Unless you got anything more we want to
anything. We just still haven't established how to end an episode. Everyone is awkward as hell.
Or even like how to start. I feel like this one I was like, I'm just gonna get into it.
Like, hi guys, it's us again.
And here's all my info.
Well,
it was good chatting, and we'll see you in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Or not see you, I guess, but...
I'll see you.
I
I always see you. Goodbye.